G'day and welcome back to another edition of SuperCoach Edge. Now, Liam, we've now delved into our best primo forwards and most recently our mid-pricer / value options. Why don't we complete the trilogy with a look at all things rookies?
And as we teased at the back end of the last episode, we have almost too many rookie options in the forward line, and it's going to be a squeeze trying to fit all of them into our starting sides. The key is pinpointing the best to fit into our sides, which is where you and I come in, Damon.
We've come back strong the preseason here. So for those of you tuning into the YouTube memes, you'll be able to appreciate this. But no longer, Liam, are we being relegated or forced to drink the rookie juice from the little glasses that we've got here. So just comparison alongside my head. Now, Liam, we are being treated to, and I know you've got one there, so lift yours up, to a big hearty Stein's worth of rookie juice. Mine's clear. It's much like H2O, very refreshing.
Can't see inside mine, unfortunately.
But yes, no, we are being treated this season, Liam. We are being treated.
Yes, so that's quite a number.
To jumping into it.
But before we do jump into it, this is where you can find us on our socials. YouTube, search SuperCoach Edge as you take a sip from the...
I'm like Donald Trump. I have to hold it with both hands. Not because my hands are small, but because this is a massive glass. No, Donald Trump.
Anyway, as you do that, simply search SuperCoach Edge on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe so you are notified when our content does drop from week to week. On Twitter, you'll find us at SuperCoach_Edge, Damon at DamoJ88, and myself at Liam Evans _95. And then for all the quality gags on Facebook, Insta, and TikTok, search SuperCoach Edge and you'll find us there.
Oh, so you might have heard me coughing from that. That just went down the wrong way, and it's because it's strong. It's you can get some watered down.
Undiluted rookie juice.
Don't be fooled. This isn't watered down. This is 100% quality and strength, quality assured. But now, Liam, let's get cracking and crack open a can of rookie juice. Get guzzling. It's probably best to add that each of these guys that we will chat about needs to be assessed on the basis of two key criteria. This is what we're using virtually for each rookie to assess. At this stage, I mean, it's hard to give a definitive assessment because we're still yet to see, obviously, pre-season exposed form, but we will assess them all via, first and foremost, job security, so whether or not they're likely to keep their role ongoing. So as we know, the worst thing that can happen at the start of a SuperCoach season to a rookie is starting in round one, only to see them omitted from the senior side and marooned on one or two games before they make decent cash in their third game. Second to this is the scoring potential, whether they have the ability to score well enough to warrant either on-field selection or they can at least score well enough to keep their cash generation ticking over. So if a player has ticked both boxes in having solid job security and scoring potential, then they are an immediate tick. Strong scoring potential but low job security is a risk. And high job security but low scoring potential means they'll instead be a slow burn. And you don't want too many of either of these guys in your side, otherwise it delays your ability to upgrade your side.
Yes, agreed. And also just a note on all the guys that we're going to discuss today, to get a full well-rounded assessment of each of these rookies, you'll need to wait until we see some exposed form through the official and I suppose unofficial preseason match. From there, we can see what their role looks like and, more importantly, whether they are likely to play in round one. Obviously, we're starting to see, match sim and where players are lining up and whether they're in the A team or the B team. But realistically, preseason matchups is where we're going to get a better idea. And then, obviously, the round one team sheets or the round zero for some teams. But let's jump straight into it because first up, we have Dan Curtin. Won at 58.6K, forward eligible, scored 32.7 as an average in 2024 from his 7 games, and playing for the Crows does not have the extra bye. Adelaide's 2023 pick 8 did play those 7 games, as I mentioned, in his debut year for scores of 43, 9, 19, 4, 52, 44, and 58. But we do note that the first 4 games were sub-affected. If we discount those 4 games from his average, it does lift to a more respectable 51.3, but obviously is a small sample size. The interesting thing about Curtin, he has the ability to play at both ends of the ground and also through the middle. And he's been gifted CBAs by the Crows with 23%, 10%, 46%, 18% in 4 of his total 7 games. So as we said, we're going to go through their job security and their scoring potential. Opportunity in terms of job security will be there for him. You would think, given the Crows rated him highly enough in the draft to trade up the order with GWS to snap him up ahead of the Eagles. But the question here will be whether he is consistently in the best 23 for the Crows first up, but if he can also avoid the subvest, in game.
Yep.
And in terms of scoring potential, as a key position player and, those sort of tall players, his scoring is going to be volatile. But this is linked with the type of role that he plays. So it's hard to get a potential read on this just yet. Because if he is playing midfield and getting CBAs, he may, score much better. He's been training with a midfield group at stages, so it could be a bit of a smoky if that role rotation does continue. Even if he plays sort of, midfield and then forward, it might just boost his scoring that little bit. Damon, what's your verdict?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned there, the subvest is a definite kryptonite to any potential cash cow. And given more than half of his games were sub-affected, it makes me think that, again, he might be in that frame and it might make him a bit of a slow burn. But even so, I'm actually not sure at this stage if he's still, a lock and load guaranteed best 23. He's obviously got talent. They're going to try and rotate him through, but is it going to be from the get-go or is it going to be, round 5, round 10, who knows? But he's going to be one to monitor across the preseason and see, as you mentioned, what his role is and the practice matches. Because if he plays a bit of time in the midfield as well, geez, that elevates the scoring ceiling, for a guy, even though his key position can play at both ends. The fact that they're rotating him through there in 2024, limited opportunities, suggests that maybe that continues. Does that elevate? Maybe his scoring ceiling off the back of that should rise as well. So I don't mind him, but it's sort of weighing up alongside these other cash cows. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, similar. Not loving it. Sort of. Sorry, I just love this class.
I'm just drinking from
up. All I see is just.
I haven't even mentioned this, but my own little challenge that I've got is to drink the entire stein worth of rookie juice by the end of the episode. So I should have mentioned that, but I am chugging it because it is ever so refreshing. I must admit.
Very hydrating. Yeah, no, I agree. I think job security for me is a concern. Scoring potential also a concern, depending on his role. I think there's better picks at different price. Like you're looking at, a Sam Powell Pepper is just over 20K more expensive. I'd rather spend that extra 20K and kind of know, I feel like at least the scoring potential is there for Powell Pepper, as opposed to Curtin.
Oh, I thought you were going to say as opposed to Powell Pepper.
And Powell Pepper.
But yes, as opposed to Curtin, sorry.
Yeah, as opposed to Curtin. So yeah, I think we're much of the same boat here. I don't think I'll be picking him personally.
Yep. No, at this stage.
I'll watch, but I don't think there's going to be much that I'd have to see something I really like to pick him.
I agree there. Let's move on to the next option, and it is a former Blue in Jack Martin, 150.9K, available as a forward, 2024 average, just the 40 from 3 games. No surprise to me. Extra buy he does have. He's obviously playing now for the Cats. And he's found himself there via the delisted free agent route after his former club in Carlton lost patience with his injury issues, which restricted him to just the 3 games, as I mentioned, 2024 for scores of 40, 68 and injury impacted 12. Durability is a major issue with Martin, with calf injuries among the most recurrent when it comes to his soft tissue injuries. And it's hard to have confidence in him as a selection, I think, especially considering that he is averaging a touch under 11 games over the past 5 seasons. So in terms of job security with Stengel and Sean Manor as well, ahead of him on the depth chart, we'd think, ironically, he actually might have to wait for injury to get his chance in the senior side. That is, if he isn't already injured himself. Scoring potential. In his first year at Carlton, he averaged 83.1, So he can reach those heights, but he has slid from those heights in recent seasons with just 68.2, 54, 59.5, and a 40. So in terms of the verdict, I will just quickly say his job security and scoring potential don't really combine for a must-have selection at that price point, and it does make his upside limited. And as a Carlton fan, it haunts me knowing that every time that he took the field in the navy blue, that he was more likely than not going to get injured. And I would much prefer to take a punt on a cheaper selection personally. But Liam, anything different to that?
No. He's almost like, I would almost have him as a don't even consider him. Like he's probably at that level for me. I think he's certainly going to be behind Stengel. Should be behind Manor as well. And his injury history is too big a concern. The worst thing that could happen is you start him, he plays 2 games by some miracle, and then breaks down in game 3 or before game 3. You know what I mean? Like, and then you've got to waste a trade on him.
Yeah.
At 150.9K, it's going to be hard to do anything with him. So yeah, I personally I won't be starting him. I don't think I'd be considering. He'd have to. Again, like it'd have to be like he comes out in round 0 and scores 200.
Yeah.
For me to even think about it, just because he's obviously does that, he's going to skyrocket in price.
Yeah, that's, I guess, the benefit with him there with round 0 is we're going to get a look at whether or not he's actually selected in the team first up. And if he is, how he performs, how he's moving aerobically, and is he fit enough to suggest that he can actually survive another 2 games and go up in price point. But as you said, there's that worry there that in the 3rd game, if he, by some miracle, survives the first 2 and breaks down in the 3rd game, that's the worst nightmare. And I've, as a Carlton fan, seen that way too many times to recall. So he's on the almost never again list for me personally, because I just think he's going to break down again. All the best to him at the Cats, and hopefully he can make something of himself. But yeah, I don't think so, personally.
Agreed. Moving on to the next guy, it is Isaac KAKO, 149.5K, forward eligible. He had a 2024 average in the Coates League of 113. Playing for the Dons, does have that extra bye, playing in round 0. And he was snapped up with the first round pick and is widely seen as the best small forward in the draft, who should be a walk-up start in the Dons' best 23. In terms of job security, I think he definitely feels a need as a small forward, and will be given prime opportunity to cement his spot in the side long term. Scoring potential, I mean, he's a small forward. Our expectations should always be tempered by the fact that that role can produce volatile scoring at the best of times. Could he follow in the footsteps of Nick Watson, who was able to punch out 6 80-plus scores and went on to average 65.5? I'd say, yeah, there's a chance. They've been likened to one another, from what I've heard. I think the one benefit that not having ever seen him play yet, but I think he'll offer a lot of forward pressure. So I think tackles should hopefully be something that might give him at least a little bit of a floor, but it's going to be volatile. I think he's got job security, but there's going to be questions over his scoring ability and that consistency for me. So, yeah, for me, in terms of verdict, he's in my side currently because I think at just under 150K, it's easy to then drop him down to another player if I need to. But I'll certainly be watching him across the preseason.
And he's, as a Dons man, Liam, you reckon he's got the job security,
100%.
Opposite sort of pocket to Gresham potentially, or who else was playing as a small forward role? Was there someone got injured recently? Or
Guelphy redid his hamstring and is getting surgery, so he won't have any issue there. And Owen David Jr., he just got injured as well, off memory.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt he'll play.
Yeah.
He's got job security. It's just whether his scoring is worthwhile. So yeah, just watch him across the preseason to see what it looks like.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. Looking forward to watching him though. And apparently his foot skills are immaculate. Decision making, passing off, knowing that he can't kick a goal you get players that try and kick goals out of their ass and they can do it, but there are players that, Eddie Betts could do it, but like other players that have a shot at goal when they probably should look up, look sideways and sort of assess options. And from what I've seen of his highlights, he looks like a very smart footballer. So looking forward to watching him.
I think as well, just having watched him in training, he gives me a little bit of the vibe of like a Tip and Woody. Kind of one of those players that when they get the ball, they do something with it. It's not kind of like I just don't think that, not necessarily damaging possessions necessarily all the time, but just it's not kind of, it's advancing the ball in that sense. So hopefully that bodes well for him.
Yep, I like it. 113 in the Coach League as well. So that is a nice score to hang your hat on. That's for sure. Let's move on to the next guy, who is the other guy that you mentioned as one of the better small forwards in the draft. Joe Berry, picked up by Port. He's priced at 140.5K as a forward. His 2024 average in the Coach League was 106. Doesn't have the extra bye, which is a bonus. Hardworking, skillful, full of speed. That's what he's been described as. Berry, he kicked 27 goals from 14 games for the Bushrangers, and is another who was ranked very highly in terms of being among the best crop of small forwards, as I mentioned, to come out of the draft. And in Port's recent match sim, he did impress massively. Kicked 2 goals and rotated through the middle as well, hitting up teammates inside 50 on multiple occasions. And the highlight came off an eye-catching rundown tackle of an opponent that resulted in a holding the ball decision. So much like KAKO, by the sounds of it, loves that, sort of thrives off that pressure game, as that pressure forward can move up the ground as well. But most notably, above all that, was Berry was the only draftee to be playing on the A team, which was seen as the probables for best 23. Now, in terms of job security, this is a big, big tick here because it's coming from one of the assistant coaches at Port, gave him a massive rap. Forwards coach, Chad Corns, he was quoted as saying, Joe Berry in particular is a guy who, in my mind, will play straight up, which is a big insight into the potential of him lining up in round 1 and how highly Port rate him. Of course, I think they in the draft, they traded up to get him because Fremantle were highly touted to get him at their pick, and they jumped ahead of Freo in order to get him. So highly rated. They need to fill a need and bring some extra sort of youth through that area of the ground. So that's a big, big tick. And scoring potential, much like KAKO, his scoring may be volatile as that small forward, but if they play him as a high half forward or rotate him through the middle as he has been training in, it only really elevates his scoring ceiling. So don't mind it. For me, he's actually in my team, especially off the back of what's been said by Chad Corns. They rate him, fulfills a need, as I said, and probably doesn't come across as that, archetypal, stereotypical small forward that needs to rely on goals to score SuperCoach points, the pressure player. So I like him. He's in my side at the moment. Liam, thoughts?
Agree. I think realistically for most people it's probably going to be one of KAKO or Berry. Figure out who's picked first. Figure out if one's picked and the other isn't. I'd probably just flick between the two. But either one for me works. Cheap, slightly cheaper for Joe Berry, probably suits slightly better. But watch the preseason. Yeah.
The bonus as well between these two guys, comparing them, is the Dons play in the opening round.
Yeah, that's the other benefit. Yeah.
You'll be able to get a free look at KAKO, see how he performs, roll on the team, and see how he looks to the eye. So that is probably something I'm going to be doing and assess from there. But at the moment, I've just gone for Berry, just slightly ahead of KAKO, but I like both options for sure.
And one thing just quickly as well that we probably should mention, with the players, the rookies particularly, and probably mid-prices who are playing round 0, you get their price rise earlier as long as they continue playing. So one thing to consider is that, it's a potential that you could be upgrading a little bit quicker, especially if they do pop off. So just watch that as well when you're picking your sides. And equally, if they have a poor game, you get that chance to watch them.
Yeah, I think it happened was it James Jordan? He had a half-decent game for Sydney in the opening round.
Was it him? I think so.
There was and then there was someone who had a down game and people jumped, I can't remember who it was, but they jumped off, whoever it was, off the back of the opening round. So, I mean, it's a 1-game sample size, but as you say, if they pop off, it's almost a guarantee you need to get that player in your team because they're going to go up in price a week earlier compared to other rookies and other cash cows that start their season in round one. So very, very good point.
Exactly. Next up, we have CAIDYN CLEARY, 124.1K, forward eligible. 28.8 was his average in 2024 from 5 games and does have the extra bye, playing for the Swans. So Cleary was able to play 5 games, scoring 27, 17, 3, 62 and 35. But those first 3 were sub-affected. He worked his way back into the Swan side late, scoring 106, 111 and 139 in consecutive games in the VFL. Cleary was a strong inside player at junior level, and that carried through in his first VFL season, averaging 21 disposals, 4.7 tackles, and 92 points. Job security. With Luke Park's departure, does he get increased opportunity at senior level, and could he work his way into the engine room? We'll just have to wait and see there. In terms of scoring potential, there's no doubting his scoring at VFL level, but can that translate to senior level? That ultimately comes down to what role he plays, and that is also if he does have one. In terms of verdict, Damon, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think for him, compared to all these guys that we've had a chat about already, I think there's just one too many question marks over him at this stage for me. He's probably out of all of them, one that I want to see exposed form for across the preseason, because as you said, we don't even know if he's going to actually have a role in the best 23. You know, he might be in the best 23, but he might be a sub candidate. So, you know, and as you said as well, like, 3 of the 5 games that he played in 2024 were as the sub. So he's got the history there. A little bit of a worry. For me, not in my team as yet, but I'll keep an eye on him. There are other guys. I think he ranks a little bit down the order for me. But what about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the other thing we probably have to consider is that Dean Cox is now the coach of the Swans. So that's a different, it's a different
good point.
kettle of fish than what we've had in past years. So it's just a new coach. So what does that mean for players and the roles they play and, their security? Is Dean Cox also going to be a Bevo? Who knows?
Oh,
who knows?
Geez, that would be a twist, a plot twist, wouldn't it?
Would be.
I wouldn't expect that from him, but maybe.
No, I don't think I expect it, but we don't know. We don't know. I think the other thing is that with Cleary, there's other players that could take that role of Luke Parker's, especially in the engine room. You've got Sheldrick, who didn't play last season, or didn't
Mills coming back as well.
Mills as well. There's a number of players that, there's a few unknowns, I think, around that. So I think definitely have to watch the preseason before we can make a call on him.
Yeah, and we don't even know if he's going to get in the engine room. Like, he might be relegated to playing a forward role as well. So, role, job security, we just don't know at this stage. But we'll wait and see, as you said. Well, let's roll on to the next one, and it is a bit of a juicy prospect here in Elijah HEWETT from the Eagles, priced at 122.8K as a forward mid. His 2024 average is zilch because he didn't play. He was ruled out, unfortunately, for the entirety of the season due to injury. But there is no doubting his talent. He impressed in recent match sims at the Eagles with his speed and dynamic movement, playing as a high half forward and rotating through the middle as well, which is good to see. Average of 45.6 in his first season of 2023, but that lifts to 52.6 when you subtract his 2 sub-affected games and the game that he did get injured. Earned himself 35% CBAs too, which is an obvious sign the Eagles will try and ease him into the engine room over time for an eventual full-time role. In terms of job security, he's hands down best 23 when fit and will be one of the highest owned cash cows in the game, I do think. With the recent injury to Yo also, could he get an early graduation to that full-time midfield role? That's something to factor in. And then in terms of his scoring potential, if he can play in the middle as opposed to being camped up forward, it only elevates his scoring potential. Heading into his 3rd season now, it's a prime opportunity to stamp himself in the young Eagles lineup. Liam, is he in your side at the moment? I'm guessing he is, unless he's like a Philippou type scenario where someone else has taken his role.
No, I think he is currently in my side, off memory. Yes, he is currently in F6. Yeah, I think he's a lock really at this stage.
Yeah, has to be.
Surely. Obviously, again, still watching the preseason just to make sure that there's no curveballs added, but I think he's a lock for me. One that I'd definitely be picking. One of the only ones I think I will say today was a lock.
Yep. Yep,
think
I
I'm
agree.
just looking down the list. Yeah, I think probably one of the only ones.
Yep, yeah, he's a definite lock and load.
That's it. Next up, we have ASHTON MOIR. Is that how I say it? Is that correct?
That's
David?
it. You've nailed it. Absolutely nailed it on the
First
head.
try, 119.9K, forward eligible, plays for your boys in the Blues. 2024, he played 2 games for an average of 28.5 and doesn't have the extra bye this season, playing his first game in round 1, or potentially playing his first game in round 1, or his first game of the season in round 1. Moir got his opportunity late in the piece and played the last 2 home and away games of the 2024 season. Despite starting as the sub in both of those matches, he did impress, kicking classy goals and flashing an X factor within the 50-metre arc that we've rarely seen in a Carlton side since Eddie Betts. Above all else, though, he proved his ability to adapt to the pace of senior level. Now, with Jack Martin swapping the navy blue for the blue and white hoops, Moir has that unique profile to slide effortlessly into that role as that mid-sized forward who has a great leap, is able to mark on the lead, but also turn of speed that always makes him a bit small forward when the ball does hit the deck. So in terms of job security, there is that role potentially opening up there. And scoring potential, we've spoken enough about the scoring volatility of forwards, but as a mid-sized hybrid forward, he does present as an intriguing prospect. Probably not one that I'd start on field, but as a bench cash cow, definitely one to consider. I mean, at 119.9K, that's a nice, but it's tough. I don't like any forwards. I'm not going to like anyone here, except for Hewett. So, and I think at 119K or 120K, basically, it's not a bad pick because it's not going to take as much as a 150K. Just he doesn't have to score as well as them to make more cash.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Very, very good point. I think as a Carlton man, I think he should be best 23. I do worry at stages, though, that he may be used as the sub, which I hate.
Yeah.
With regards to his role, that will dictate whether or not he scores well enough. I think he's, as you said, as a forward, he's going to be volatile in his scoring, but yeah, he's a bit of a wait and see. He's in my side at the moment, and the main thing, as you mentioned, 119.9K, good price point.
But I suppose in one sense, there's also a degree of, well, he still managed to score an average 28.5, which isn't too bad from a starting sub, potentially.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess the bonus
if he can get
is
full games.
Yeah, he gets full games. And in round 1, he's going to play the first game of the round
so
against Richmond Thursday night. So you're going to know if he's the sub or not. And then if he is, bypass him potentially and go for someone else because you know they're going to put a bit of a cap on his scoring output for that game alone, which might ruin his first rolling 3-game average.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to the next guy, Damon.
Yep. We do have a bit of a juicier prospect, I think. Neil Erasmus, 119.9K as a forward mid. His 2024 average was 23 from 4 games, doesn't have the extra bye, and was only really able to eke out the 4 games at senior level for Freo. But the downside here, which just compounds things, was they were all sub-affected. At waffle level, however, Erasmus absolutely dominated, averaging 125 SuperCoach points for Peel Thunder, which was the most of any midfielder in the competition. And across the last 3 finals, he scored 167, 172 and a 181, so absolutely dominant. But can he finally get a consistent opportunity in his 4th year at senior level? So leading to job security, he hasn't really had the consistent opportunity like he would have hoped, but opted to re-sign with the Dockers instead of seeking a trade in the trade period. Do the Dockers potentially have plans for him as reward following a dominant run in the waffle? One to watch over the preseason matches 100% to see if he does have that spot in the best 23. In terms of scoring potential, in his first year, he was able to score 58, 70 and 60 in his 3 games, all of which came off the back of 62%, 58% and 24% CBAs. So provided he gets those CBAs and roll, it looks like he can convert that to half-decent scores needed to make us a bit of bulk coin as a nice cash cow. Liam, is he currently in your side?
He is on the bench. I think just his scoring potential and ability in the the waffle, lends himself to being in my side. Whether he's in my side at the start and at that price point of 119.9K and the flex of being a mid and a forward, I think I like him as a pick. Obviously needs to get the opportunity. And we need to see the role that he's going to have if he is playing at all. So one to watch, and I'll be keenly watching him because I hope he does play because I want him in my side.
Yep, I agree 100% with all those points. Hopefully he gets that chance because he's a talented youngster and, he can be a very nice scorer and cash cow for us. So a bit of a watch there with great interest.
Definitely agree there. On to the next guy. It is Connor Stone, 119.9K, forward eligible, 2024 average of 28.5 from 2 games. And playing for the Giants, he does have that extra bye. It may be a make or break year for Stone with limited opportunities in his time at the Giants. He has averaged just 41.7, 27, 16, and 19.8 across 4 seasons that do combine for 12 games. Has been spoken about as a potential role shift into defence as a replacement for Perryman as well. In terms of job security, still shaky as he can't crack a consistent gig in the senior side, having only played 4, 1, 3, and 4 games across his past 4 seasons. In terms of scoring potential, will be dependent on the role. If he's a small forward, it can't be too reliable, but if he does get a role of halfback as a distributor, that could change things up. The only thing that I will say for Stone is that GWS opted. I know Essendon was wanted to trade him, and the Saints as well. Essendon wanted to include him in the stringer deal.
Yes.
But GWS wanted to keep him, and I think that to me suggests that they potentially have a role for him. But that's really just trying to read between the lines, and might be reading into something that's not there. So I'd have to see him in the preseason, like those preseason games. And I mean, we get to see him in round 0 as well. So if we do see him there and we see what the role he has, that's another benefit. But at this stage, I think he is in my side currently, but really it's just a placeholder spot. I don't know if he'll be there come round 1.
Yeah, I agree as well. Like he hasn't got a history of good job security. No exposed form as well. If he does shift into that defensive role in place of Perryman. So for me at this stage, he's a bit of a pass unless something in the practice matches say otherwise. But yeah, as you mentioned as well, which I completely forgot about, with all these, most of these guys that are playing or their sides are playing in the opening round, we could potentially get a bit of a cheat code, easy look at him to see how he goes in terms of role, job opportunity, time on ground, all that sort of stuff. Does he avoid the subvest? So yeah, one to watch for sure. Let's move on to the next guy. It's second last guy on the list here, and it is Jacob. And how do you pronounce this? Is it Constanty? Constantine?
I think so. Yeah, it's a good one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I assumed it was Constanty.
We'll roll with that. He's priced at 119.9K as well as a forward. 2024 average, didn't play, doesn't have the extra bye this season. And he's a former first-round pick, was unable to force his way into Sydney's stacked side. He's best known as a defensive pressure forward, averaging 65 SuperCoach points at VFL level off the back of 4 tackles, 11 disposals, and 1.2 goals a game. In terms of job security, he has had a limited preseason due to recovery following foot surgery, but could he slide right into the Roos lineup and especially up forward if fit? Who knows? So he's a big watch. And scoring potential, his love for a cuddle does elevate his scoring potential as a pressure forward to help build a solid scoring floor, but might be hard-pressed for consistent scoring, especially playing in a North Melbourne forward line, as we spoke about with Lynch and Richmond. Verdict, quickly for me, he's a no at this stage. Doesn't tick either box in terms of job security or scoring potential. So, yeah, he's a bit of an intriguing prospect, I do think, especially priced, almost bottom price, 119.9K, but he's a no for me at this stage.
Summed it up well. I can't add anything to that. I agree entirely. Not in my side currently, and I don't think he will be. Almost there, David, but we're getting dangerously close to the end of this episode.
I've got to scull this. So whilst you're going through
talk
Sam
slowly.
Davidson, sorry, I've just ruined
We haven't got much to talk about with Sam Davidson, so I'm going to talk.
I reckon this is so it is a 1 litre Stein, of course. So I reckon it's about 250 mils, I reckon, if that. Maybe 300. So we'll see how we go.
It's a cup of water. It's not much.
Chug. It's not water. This is rookie juice. So this is potent stuff.
Oh yes, undiluted rookie juice. That is much harder to chug.
And it's actually making me really thirsty, really in a weird way. Like this is This is serious. I don't. It's very
All right.
Moorish. Who
So
we got?
Sam got more. Go on, chug away. Sam Davidson, 113.5K, forward eligible. 2024 average, not applicable, didn't play. Extra buy? No. Davidson is a mature age recruit drafted out of Richmond's VFL side who kicked 26 goals in 17 games and averaged a healthy 80 SuperCoach points. Very well done there. Is it done? I didn't see.
No, there's a little bit left.
Oh,
I'm saving
come
it.
on.
I'm saving
Savoring
it. Yeah, exactly. I just don't want to drink the whole lot. It's that delicious. Tastes like nothing,
Yum.
actually. It's a really weird elixir. Tastes a bit like water. Strange.
Anyway, moving on. Job security for Sam Davidson. He has, by all reports, slotted in well at the Dogs and could be in line for an early debut with doubts over Jamara Ugle-Hagen's availability in the early part of that season. Scoring potential, he has snagged bags of 6 and 4 goals on occasions and showed an ability to also play up on the wing for Richmond in the VFL. So it does open up scoring opportunities and roles for him to play higher up the ground as well. Yeah, verdict, Damon, I'm going to throw to you because I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I think he's an intriguing option. But as we know, anyone playing under Bevo, as we've spoken about ad nauseum, is never guaranteed of anything at all. Role, scoring potential, sub-vest, which he's got a bit of a kink for, I think, Bevo. But if he's named in round 1, Davidson, he could be worth the punt at his lower price point, 113.5, which I think is near, I think 99 point whatever K it is, I think is the lowest price point you can get. But mature age player, as you said, he's got some runs on the board playing in the VFL, and a lot of these guys have been able to translate that form over to, I think Davidson, just speaking about this, I think he's the guy who won the, what's it called? That medal for like best young player in the VFL. As you quickly type that out.
Yeah.
Which I think if he continues a trend of players that when drafted, they actually score quite well. Luke Ryan was one of those.
Yep. He did win it in 2024. The Fothergill,
yep.
Round Mitchell medal. My God, that's
Jesus God.
Anyway, yes. I think, I'm with you. I think it comes down to round 1. I don't know if I trust him as an on-field option.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dogs are currently having a lot of issues with injuries, so opens up a potential spot for him. But we'll have to see.
Yep. Exactly. He's not in my side at the moment on the bench, but yeah, it's just such a squeeze in terms of trying to get these guys in. As we said, there's probably more rookies than what there are, speaking about the value options, the mid prices. So yeah, it's going to be a very tough task for all of us to run the microscope over the preseason matches and work out who are the best of the best. But in saying that, Liam, that does round us out for our complete forward analysis. As I chugged this last bit, I was savoring it, but let me just down it, Liam. I was gonna like gargle it, but I thought, no, that's just that'll turn the podcast into something else it's not, and it might tickle the feathers of particular people that are tuning in.
Hang on, is it or is it ASMR?
ASMR.
Oh my God, see, that's how much I don't know of anything about it.
Well, you got me going, Liam, even though you said it incorrectly. It's fine. Audio sensory something, I think. I have no idea, but I'm not into it. But there are people that are. And there are people that do have a bit of a penchant for, of course, as we know, doing the OnlyFans, Liam, which I know Adam, who is our number 1 ticket holder, who would be tuning in, no doubt, has been asking for you to start your own OnlyFans, your OnlyFeet subscription service, including the triple chili pie, which for those people tuning in as the regular listeners, watchers, they would understand the gag there because I think was it last year or was it 2023? What about 2023?
Got one in the freezer though.
Oh, you do. The triple chili pie, of course, from Gaffney's.
Yes, Gaffney's in Seymour.
Which is incredible. And it packs a punch, I'll tell you. Like I don't think I've been in as much pain as what I was on the toilet. After going in, it went down a treat. I loved it. I love a bit of spice, as do you. You can handle a bit better than me.
Delicious.
But Jesus, it was not good. Didn't enjoy
I
it.
also in Italy found a lolly shop and brought back some lollies for us to
yes.
try. Some chili gummies.
Oh, you got him.
I did get them in the end. I haven't tried it yet. It's still sitting
Yes.
in the bag. So I'll have to bring them out one episode, see how they go.
Yes. Yeah, please do. Maybe do it at the start of the episode and then see if you
Just not be able
survive.
to make it the whole way.
Yeah, and see if you like delve into
Maybe.
the deliriousness like Homer when he eats that
Yeah,
chili.
I was about to say, is he a talking coyote in the sky?
Yeah, that's it. So that's reason enough to give it a go. Very good. Great mind. See, we're back on deck now. We're channeling the same Simpsons references. We are well and truly back. But
That's it.
Liam, in the run sheet here, we haven't put as to which I guess area of the ground we're going to analyze next. Should we
I
keep
was
it
going
open?
to say, that felt like a real stitch up because in the run sheet it says, Liam, what do we have on the horizon for our next preseason analysis episode? And then it just says, we might mix it up.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
it.
mix it up. Yeah, that's it. We might, which my thought is, should we like choose here as to what area of the ground we do? Like, do we do midfield? Do we do rucks? Do we do forwards? Forwards. Do we do defenders? Jesus, no, I'm delirious. Or should we keep it open as a bit of a surprise?
Why don't we let the wheel decide?
Oh, the wheel. Okay.
The wheel of, what is it, misfortune?
The wheel of misfortune. Okay, let's do a wheel of misfortune then in that case. And I'll be able to share the screen. I'll cut this together, don't worry.
Or,
not Wheel of
or that
Fortune.
race. I love the race one as well.
Oh, yeah, the race. Which one should we do? We can do the race, or
You choose whichever one you think is better.
let's do the wheel. Let's do the wheel of fortune.
Let's do the Wheel of Fortune, and then for the next one, we'll do the when we have to decide between the next two, we can do the race.
Yeah. Okay. 3, 2. I'll add in the wheel of fortune music over the top here, even though that it may demonetize us, but I'll put it in just for a little bit. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and do 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 do. It's making music in my ELM. You can't hear it. And it's Defenders. Woo! That's it. It's been decided, Liam. We are doing Defenders, courtesy of the Wheel of Misfortune, which in this case proved to be true because it's a little bit misfortunate because we're going from one end of the ground to the next. So probably should have done the little race, the emoji race. That's right. We'll
do that next time. We'll do it next time.
You got me filled with regret. But Liam, that is it. As you can see, the
No more rookie juice
is done. It's donezo. I'll probably need to go to the toilet as well after this. Is 1 litre worth of rookie juice that goes straight through you, and it's making me a little bit tipsy as well. But of course, Liam, as we said in the previous episode, if there are any forward eligible players in terms of the rookies that you'd like us to discuss, which I think we kind of touched on all the main ones, let us know. Comment down below if you're watching us on YouTube, or hit us up via socials, or slide into our DMs alternatively. And no, Liam will not be doing the Only Feet account. Not as yet. Maybe if you pay him a bit more. But Liam, where can they find us if they want to bombard you with messages about starting your OnlyFans?
No, please. You can message Damon at DamoJ88.
No, you can't. I'm busy drinking juice.
But if you do want to watch the episode, find us at or one of our past episodes. We did chat about, you chatted about rookie forward primos. I chatted about I chatted about forward mid prices. You'll find us on YouTube, at SuperCoach Edge, and don't forget to subscribe so you do get notified whenever our content does drop. On Twitter, you'll find us at @supercoach_edge, Damon at DamoJ88, myself at Liam Evans _95, and on Facebook, Insta, and TikTok, you'll find us at SuperCoach Edge.
Very nice, Liam. And one thing I forgot to ask you before we sign off is, were you fortunate enough to wear the old captain's hat on the way over to Europe? Did you flex your muscles and be like, I'm the captain now?
Well, I did. I walked in and had the captain's hat on, and then they were like, "Thank God you're here," and took me to the cockpit. And and then I had to point out that it had an anchor on it, so I wasn't actually a pilot. I was a boat captain, and they were like, "Good call."
Yeah. Well, it's like the Simpsons episode. I remember it, but like Homer goes into like the pilot's bar to get himself a beer.
We need a pilot. Pronto. Who wants to fly to the Windy City?
Well, I'll go.
Yeah, I'm your man. Conditions are a little windy.
I was thinking that. I think maybe I'll fit.
You! But I... Hey, You're not just impersonating a pilot so you can drink here, are you?
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm here.
You fly boys, you crack me up.
But I keep telling you, I'm not a pilot.
And I keep telling you, you fly boys crack me up.
I can imagine that happening to you, and then you just get ushered into the front of the plane, pushing all these buttons.
Yeah, and this one.
We'll need that to live.
Yeah, this one, and the wheels retract. Classic. Very good. Well, thanks, Liam. Always a pleasure to have you back.
It's good to be back.
And we are, I guess, in the swing of things, well and truly. So looking forward to the rest of the preseason analysis episodes. Thank you, as always, for your company, for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.
See you guys.